Hello, it's Jim Hutchins for the Jerusalem Connection Truth Report for this week. There is a subject that is gaining increasing attention among God's people, especially those who look to the Scriptures as their final rule for faith and practice. They look to the Scriptures as their final authority. Now, not all Christians do that, unfortunately. We hear this emphasis, and it is an emphasis on the latter days or the end times. And we hear this more from pastors and preachers, interpreters outside of the local church. We don't hear a lot of this from the pulpits, emphasis on the end times. But I think increasingly God's people are becoming aware that we're fast approaching this. I think the event that triggers it, in my own judgment, is the Daniel 9:27 covenant, where the Antichrist makes a 7-year covenant agreement treaty that will include Israel and some specifics with regard to Israel. Well, one of the subjects that has come up with regard to an emphasis on the end times is Psalm 83. It's called, in many circles, as the Psalm 83 War. And we're given to understand that that could take place at any time. I question that, frankly. You see, Psalm 83 is a prayer. It's the prayer of Asaph, and it's a prayer against the enemies of Israel, who are identified as those who are in opposition to God as well. So being against Israel automatically places you in opposition to God, according to the prayer here. But there is a specific goal to this prayer, and it's in the closing verses of Psalm 83. But let me just cite the opening verses. Verse 1, O God, do not keep silent. Be not quiet, O God, be not still. See how your enemies, these are the enemies of God, as well as the enemies of Israel. See how your enemies are astir, how your foes rear their heads. With cunning they conspire against your people. These enemies of Israel conspire against them, but they're actually in opposition to God and His work, His plan, His purposes. They plot against those you cherish. Come, they say, let us destroy them as a nation, that the name of Israel be remembered no more. With one mind they plot together. They form an alliance against you, against God. Those who are coming against Israel, who would destroy Israel, that the name of Israel be remembered no more, are actually standing in opposition to the God of the Scriptures, the God of the universe, Yahweh. And Asaph recognizes this, and his prayer ends this way, and I think this is the goal of the whole prayer of Asaph. This is not a prophecy, this is a prayer. Verse 16, Asaph prays, cover their faces, those who are in opposition to Israel and those who have plot against God. Cover their faces with shame so that men will seek your name, O Yahweh. That's the goal of this defeat. That's the goal of victory over opposition to Israel, opposition to God. Cover their faces with shame so that men will seek your name, O Yahweh. May they ever be dismayed, or may they ever be ashamed and dismayed. May they perish in disgrace. Let them know that you, whose name is Yahweh, that you alone are the Most High over all the earth. Now that's the goal of Asaph's prayer. That all these people who are in opposition to Israel, who would destroy them, wipe them off the map, who are likewise in doing so and taking that stance are in opposition to God, let them know that Yahweh and His name is to be honored and to be glorified. Next week, I'm going to take a look at Ezekiel chapter 20, and we're going to take a look at why God has hidden His name so that it may not be profaned. But the day is coming And I don't think this so-called war of Psalm 83 is the next event on the prophetic calendar, because this will happen only immediately prior to the Lord's coming in power and great glory. But he is coming, and his name will be exalted. Yahweh will be exalted. And as we're reminded in Philippians chapter 2 and verse 11, Jesus the Messiah is Yahweh, to the glory of God. And we look for his coming in power and great glory. And that's the truth.